message on money management and stewardship. Money management and stewardship. The reason why I want to do this is I am or have noticed in the past that there's a lot of people that make enough money, but they just don't know what to do with it. I'm sure you probably heard the saying that, I haven't heard it in a while, but people say, man, they say, oh, so-and-so has more money than they know what to do with. And some people are like that. It's not the fact that they're living paycheck to paycheck because of themselves. They are self-destructing. They're hurting themselves. They self-inflicted pain, for lack of other words. So I really want to discuss money management and stewardship because we need to know how to spend our money, and we kind of need to start praying and really asking God and like really getting to that place where we get God involved in our everyday life, and we start really saying, hey, God, should I make this purchase? Is this a good idea? And somebody might say, Richard, that's just going too far. But I really think we need to acknowledge God in all our ways. Like we really need to start hitting that spot where we say, God, should I do this? And then see if you have peace about it. And I know it's small or can come off as small, but it seems as if these small things, I tell you what, a good scripture, it says it's the small foxes that spoil the vine. And that scripture can be used over a lot of different areas, or it can be used with a lot of different situations. And the reason why I say that, if it's something small, it's something old folks used to say. They would say pennies make dollars, and so if it's something so small, then I keep thinking of good examples. Another example is when your wife we have something here in Mobile called Dollar Tree. Well, when your wife go in Dollar Tree and end up, and the kicker is, hey, everything costs $1. That's wonderful. But when you get 100 things in your buggy, you just spent $100. So keep that in mind. When your wife, I'm picking on women, when your wife come in with all those clothes and all those bags and all those shoe boxes, and she say, oh, baby, oh, wait, you see all this stuff. It was all on sale, but when you see her bottom line, when you see the ticket, and you're like, wow, how is that all on sale? And it's $400 or $500, and that may not be a bunch of money to somebody, but it is to me. But so y'all kind of get where we're going with this. So all of that's very important, that we learn that stewardship and that we don't get crazy when we do get some extra money. I don't know what do get mean, but when we get extra money, we don't want to get crazy when we have extra funds. So let's talk about it real quick, and let's get you. And it's not for everybody. It's some people that really don't make enough money, and they're living on a wing and a prayer, for lack of other words. So I'm not picking on you, but what I want to target is I want to target you when you get to that place where you are making enough. But I want to target the target audience on this one would be the people that's making enough, but they kind of hurting themselves by overspending, by doing a few things that they probably shouldn't do. So let's discuss that. The first thing first is what we just talked about. Acknowledge God in all your ways. On your spending, just because Paul said something beautiful. He said, all things are lawful, but all things are not expedient. And those are funny words, but what he was saying was he is certain things he can do that he don't do. Now, all things are lawful, but not expedient, in another translation is saying, I can do anything, but some things are not necessary. And so in a financial sense and in a stewardship sense, it's saying, hey, I can afford it. It costs $10 and I have 20. And so, but what we have to do is figure out, hey, should I use half of my finances for so-and-so, for this or that, or whatever it may be? So that's where we kind of need to check that out. We don't need to get into this, hey, I have enough and I'm going to buy it. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do that. We got to stop doing that. And I would say I've been there and done that, but I kind of always been a person that says, hey, maybe I can use this money somewhere else. So that's kind of what I do. So just a quick another example or something that I've done, something personally. I used to, when I was at work, I would spend, I would buy breakfast, lunch, and dinner at work. or either I would at least most people we buy breakfast and lunch at work. And so when you do that, you spent $5 pretty much, and I'm lowballing because everything's $7 now. But just say you spend $5 for breakfast in the morning, and y'all know now a cup of coffee costs $5. So that's that gone. That's minus the sandwich, and your hash browns. That's just $5 on coffee. But anyway, $5 for breakfast, $5 for lunch is $10 a day. Well, if you work in a 5-day work week, then you just spent $50 a week just on breakfast and lunch. That has nothing to do with some of the other stuff that we're doing. And so $50 a week, and most months have 4 weeks in it. Some have 5, but let's just say we got 4 weeks in a month. That's $200 that's been spent on breakfast and lunch. And I know somebody say, well, Richard, I got to eat. Well, and so that's where we really need to kind of come in. Man, do you know what you can do with $200 a week? I'm sorry, a month? Can you imagine if you had $1,000 mortgage that you can take it down to $800? So this kind of what we're thinking. I'm kind of doing some of that a penny saved is a penny earned thing. And so at least that's how I think. And so I want to make you think. I want to cause you to think in that, on those lines where you say, you know what, if I stop eating out every day, I can cut my mortgage down to from $1,000 to $800. If I stop eating out every day, I can cut my $600 car payment down from $600 to $400. So that's the kind of thought pattern I want us to have. And I'm not saying, hey, I want to be a killjoy. I don't want you to go out and eat. I don't want you to enjoy yourself. No, I'm saying, hey, enjoy eating out sometime. But even for the health benefits, and we're not talking about health today, which the church, we need to talk about it, but not today. But we will, because you don't hear health being preached out the pulpit. Anyway, if we can cut that $200 off a month, or however much we spend a month, off of our car note, off of our mortgage, then we will start having fun with it. Then it can start being rewarding. Just another quick thing, and then we'll look at a few scriptures. I remember when doing our taxes, and me being in business for myself, it causes me to look at my taxes and like itemize and look at every line of it. So I started and I'm sorry today I can't give you a total, but I started highlighting, underlining all the fast food and every time we went out, which, I mean, I'm not saying don't go out. I don't want to send that signal, because it's fun to go out. Sometimes it bless your soul to go out and just sit down and let someone bring your tea out, bring your food out, and you just don't have to. Let me say it this way, because it's kind of like I'm saying, it's fun to have someone do your stuff for you, and it is. But what I want to get at is fun to not have to cook sometimes and just take that weight off and not worry about it and let somebody else cook. And some dishes we can't cook. That's a whole nother story. But so anyway, let's have fun doing it. But what I want to get at is this: when we do our taxes, or even on your bank statement, go on your monthly bank statement and just highlight every time you went out and every time you bought food out, and watch how much money that we have spent going out and doing takeout and doing carry out and doing dine-ins, and you would be amazed. And then just think about it. Hey, I could have used that to cut down my car payment. I could have used that to cut down my mortgage. I could have used that to cut down on a bill. Penny saved is a penny earned. Keep that in mind. So that's just kind of what I've dealt with when I've doing taxes. So 3 quick scriptures. It might be a few more. 3 or 4 scriptures, and then a few thoughts. A scripture, Luke 14:28, talks about, and I'm not going to read it verbatim, but I'm just going to kind of give you a little bit of an overlay of it. It says, it talks about counting up the cost. It's talking about, this is for the people that, and I said my target audience is people that make enough, but don't use it right. But this is for the people that probably, well, I mean, it can be for anybody. Let me spit the scripture out. This text is saying, count and see how much you have before you spend. Now, I know I talked about some people earlier in my opener saying, hey, I got $10, it costs $8, I'm going for it. That's bad, because you just spent like way more than 50% of your what you have on something that's going to put you in a bad spot, and to where you're going to probably end up having to go use a credit card or get a loan from family and friends, and potentially lose friends and make families where they become distant family members. So you just don't want to get to go down that road. You want to stay where God said in the Old Testament, when he was talking to the children of Israel, he said, I want you to be lenders and not borrowers. You want to stay on the lending side. So just want to throw it in there. So Luke 14:28 and 29, read it for yourself later on. And maybe I'll pop it up on the screen. But it says, count up the cost. And then it talks about us making decisions and then it talks about building a house. And it says, when you get it halfway built, people will laugh because you run out of money. So we really need to count up the cost, see if we have enough. Some stuff we really cannot afford. Like if you really look at it, there's some stuff we can't afford to do. Like seriously. And I know some of us done got into that place where we're operating and walking into the abundant life. But there's some of us that there's some stuff we cannot afford. We need to just go and embrace it. We need to go ahead and be honest about it and say, you know what? I cannot afford to eat out every day because I'm having more month at the end of the month than money. I'm having month left over instead of money. So we need to switch that, invert that, where we have money left over at the end of the month, not days left over where we kind of saying, oh my God, what am I going to do? So we're just going to get to that place. So that's what Luke said. And in Luke, it does two parables. It talk about the house being half built. It says people are going to pass by and mock. They're going to make fun of you and say, hey, he wasn't able to finish. And if it's a lady, she wasn't able to finish because she didn't add up. She didn't use wisdom. She didn't count up the cost before she made a decision. So let's definitely look at our finances and make conscious, educated decisions and stop just throwing our debit card up there and then the end of the month come and we have egg on our face or we look crazy because we messed up our money. That's totally unwise. And if you talk to a person that has financial wisdom and they hear you say, oh, I run out of money and then this, that, and the other, and if it's somebody that's intimate and close to you and they see you spending money on stuff, they're gonna think, man, that's so unwise. Who does that? Well, you know who does it? People that's not thinking about their finances, people that's not making conscious decisions with their finances. That's who does that. 2 Thessalonians 3 and 10. We talk about money management and stewardship. Well, one thing, you can't steward nothing that you don't have, and you can't manage money that you don't have. And so one problem that we'll run into is some people will not go to work. Let's just call it what it is. And I'm just going to shoot straight at you. Some of y'all won't get a job. Some of y'all need to get some applications and go and find a job. And I'm not trying to be hard on you because I don't want you to get upset and go turn the broadcast off. But what I am saying is this. Get a job. It'll make you happier. It'll make you where you're not stressed out. Get a job. I'm telling you, you're going to love having your own money. You're going to love not having to ask anybody for anything. You're going to love not having to file unemployment every week. Get a job. 2 Thessalonians 3 and 10, it says, if a man don't work, he will not eat. And if you want to enjoy life and enjoy managing money and stewardship and buying whatever you want to buy after you've made an educated decision, after you preferably considered buying certain things, then you got to get a job. You wouldn't think I would have to say this, but I'm telling you, there's people, they will not work. I'm not going to get into it too much. Proverbs chapter 10, verse 4, and I hope I'm got the right scriptures up in my lineup, but it says the lazy hand make for poverty. Some of us, we have a job, might not have enough job, we might need to get another job that pays more. And some of us, we seek out jobs where we go and get, I'm gonna be the flag guy, on the construction site because he don't do anything but stand there. Oh, I want to be a security guard job. Well, I understand some people, that's good for them, but if you're able-bodied, then don't go get a security guard job where all you have to do is sit in the security house all day, sit in the shack, in the guard shack all day. That's all, and they pay $8. Well, look, hey, you're shooting too low. So some of us being lazy and it's taking us down the tube and not giving us money to manage. That's where we ended up running out of money. And before the month runs out. So we definitely don't want to do that. Another thing is, let's create a type of savings. We need to have a savings. Some of us, we just spend from paycheck to paycheck, or we just on that wing and the prayer payment system. We cannot do that. You create a savings. Don't loan anybody any money until you, and don't go buy anything, none of this expensive stuff or these stuff that you don't need. Don't do it until you build a savings. There's just some stuff you just don't make that move until you build a savings. At least of 2 months of your income. So that if something like this pandemic, this COVID-19 stuff just happened, well, it feels good to be able to say, you know what? If unemployment doesn't come through, if my job doesn't come through, if my hours get cut, then I know I'll be able to live for 2 months. I like to say 6 months, really, I like to say 6 months. That really takes the edge off. Add up all your bills and then start setting a goal. Say, hey, I got to get this much. If your bills are $1,000 a month, then start. If your expenses is $1,000 a month, then start saving now $6,000. Don't loan nobody any money. Don't go buy a new Corvette. Don't go and do nothing weird or extra until you get to $6,000 or 6 months of your expenses. And I'm telling you, it's going to take so much stress off. It's going to take a lot of stress off. Just let it sit there and look pretty. and it's going to take a lot of stress off. And it won't have you where you up at the front of the church crying and rolling around on the floor. And not in the spirit, but then tapped into the spirit of worry, where you don't know what's going to happen. So we really need to get there, and let's stop calling it faith when we go do dumb stuff. Don't go buy a Lamborghini on faith. No, that's dumb. And that's where the scripture that we first talked about comes in, about counting up the cost. And then we'll blame God. Oh, God let me down. And then we'll start quoting scriptures. I've never seen the righteous forsaken or a seed begging bread. Well, if we will follow instructions, then we'll do just fine. Let's get into this some more. The Bible says pride go before a fall in Proverbs 16 and 18. And I put in my notes, purchase what you can afford. Purchase what you can afford. And I put pride go before a fall scripture in there because sometimes we make purchases for other people to see. And y'all know it. Unknowingly, and I've said it in the past, I said, when they see this. Oh, wait till they see this one. This is going to knock their socks off. You know how we talk. This is going to blow their wigs back. You know how we talk. This is going to be a jaw dropper. And all of those statements are statements we make when we are buying stuff or doing stuff trying to please people. Get you a Toyota if that's what you can afford. Back to Luke 14 and 28. Count up the cost. Buy what you can afford. You have no business, some of us, with a $600 car payment and we only make $1,800 a month. Are you seriously going to take a third of your income and put it on a car? If you make $1,800 a month, then your car payment need to be about $200, no more than about $250. And that's without me looking at a calculator. That's just me thinking out loud. It need to be about $250. So you might have to get something with a few miles on it. But God's going to bless you. Just keep on. God will progress us and bless us. And one thing I've understood, that if we're faithful with that which is least, the Bible says that God will give us, he'll give us more. I'm misquoting probably, but it says that if you're faithful with that which is least, he said he'll give us more. I'll put it on the screen when I do my editing. I'm probably not saying it right, but the gist of it is right. Learn how to be thankful and be thoughtful and manage what you have in your hand. I like what he told Moses when Moses was saying, hey, I can't go and deal with Pharaoh. I can't go and help anybody. And he said, what's that in your hand? And so all he was letting him know, hey, use what you got. Use what you have. And so I'm telling you, use what we have. Let's be thoughtful. Let's not try to show out for everybody. Let's not be a show off. There's an old saying says show offs get hurt. And that saying, it was true then and it's true now. Show off get hurt. Don't be proud. Now these just a few thoughts. Three thoughts. I'll do only two. Do a budget. Do a budget. Show your expenses and show your income. And sometimes I call it outcome and income. Show what's going out. There ain't no outcome because that's what oxymoron, but outgoing bills or expenses, and then show your income. Write it on a piece of paper, and then write out your expenses and see what you have left. And on that expense report, I'll just use that. On that expense sheet, this is what I do personally. I put a star by the stuff that I don't have to have. So by my cable bill, there's a star. My internet, there's a star by it. And I really don't have any other commodities or any other things that's just fun things to have. But all the stuff that you don't need, put a little star by it. And that way, if you, for lack of other words, feel like your plane is going down, this stuff is already marked. You ever see a plane go down or your ship getting ready to sink and you have to push some stuff overboard? Well, when you need to lighten your load or push some stuff overboard, you'll have it marked already. You know that, hey, go ahead and call the internet company and tell them, hey, I need to turn this off. Suspend my service. Call the cable company, tell them I need to suspend my service. Then run to Walmart and get you one of those antennas that you hang up on the wall. Like, and I'm being funny, but I'm being serious because I've done all of that. So do a budget. You should be able to yell out that fast how much your expenses are. And then that fast how much your income is. You should be able to say, I make $1,000 a month. My expenses is $500. And you should be able to say how much you're saving on by every week or every month, however you do it. This stuff that we need to be able to blurt out. How much you make a month? How much your expenses? We should be able to blurt that out. So do a budget. Now, keep this in mind because this is something that church folks let slip by them. Reaping is not automatic. Reaping is not automatic. You got this big lingo at church where they say, oh, make sure you give. If you sow, you'll reap. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he reap. And the preacher end up making you give him a bunch of money, and because he told you were sowing and reaping. And I'm not against giving. I think giving is great. I think you need to give. The Bible say that let me just say it this way. The Bible say if you sow sparingly, you'll reap sparingly. And so, but in a sense, the Bible say that if you give a lot, you'll get a lot back. So I'm saying give as much as you can, but you better watch how much you give. And then in the Old Testament, God said, hey, just give 10%, which is not much. So, but anyway, that's what they use in the Old Testament. New Testament giving is you give as God has prospered you. So if God you have a good week at work, then give more. But and then it says if you give as according to what you made up in your mind to give. And it says not by pressure. So all this stuff in the Bible. So anyway, that's the thing on giving. But what I want to hit on is reaping is not automatic. So in other words, and for y'all that just, I don't know, I might have that one person say, oh my God, what's reaping? Reaping is when if you plant an apple tree and it grow a bunch of apples, reaping is when you pick the apples. In church, it's like the preacher kind of skip out on this part of the message. When you give, sometimes you don't just get money show up in your mailbox. You might get a new job. Or if you're in business like I am, you might pick up some more clients. You still have to work or exert energy while reaping. Or if we use the parable of the apple tree, you still have to get off of your butt and walk outside and extend your arm and pull apples off the tree and put them in a basket and probably wash them and do some work. Stop thinking that reaping is just automatic. Like God you plant the apple seed, and then one morning you get up and there's apple pies in there where God done picked the apples, cut them up, made a pie, turned the stove on, did everything for you. It doesn't work that way. You have to go and reap, and you have to exert some energy. Before we go and exert energy, we'll say, oh, I gave all my money to the preacher and ain't nothing happened yet. No. It's something would happen if you would go out and get off your butt and go make it happen. Go out there and reap and exert some energy. So please keep that in mind, that reaping is not automatic. Now, I say it too. I'm going to do one last one. Watch out for nibblers. We kind of hinted around at this. Nibblers is stuff that kind of, I don't know if y'all ever saw these worms where they eat the leaf. And then you'll go out there one day and it's a little bit of the leaf gone, but then you'll go another day and then the leaf half gone. And you never really see it happen, but it's definitely happened. Nibblers is when we spend a little bit of money, a whole lot. And so you end up back to what we were saying in the beginning of this video. You spend $1 at the Dollar Tree, but you put 150 things in your buggy. But your mindset when you walked in and the signs say, we love the sign. The signs say everything's $1. Oh, it's just $1. If you go in there with that, oh, it's just $1 spirit, it's gonna nibble on you. But now, for the most part, nibblers are the things that are to be more accurate to that term. Nibblers are the little things we do every day and all throughout the month and all throughout the year. And you end up saying, oh man, I spent $5,000 on cigarettes. And I'm not picking on anybody for smoking. That's between you and God. But you might say, and let's just not even use that. Oh, I spent $5,000 at Mickey D's this year, or eating out. Those are nibblers. It's things that you don't pay attention to, but it's eating you up. It's eating you alive. And so you start thinking, man, $5,000. If I would have had, I wish I could have my $5,000 right now. That's what nibblers are. Thank you. God bless you. I took a lot of time today, but I hope I'm helping somebody. This only basics. It's a few things. There's so much we can talk about that's not talked about in church, like interest rates, credit card interest rates, not having credit cards, not using them for certain things. Interest rates is one that we could talk about. There's people getting hosed at the car lot. We're not trying to make the car salesman starve, but my God, 14% and up. Some of y'all know what we're talking about. You'll never get that paid off, figuratively speaking. Anyway, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about health in the church. We'll talk about finances and interest rates in the church and things that you should know before you go and purchase, things that you should do before you purchase. You need to see how much the car is really worth before you leave out of there a car turned way upside down. This stuff is just very important. Anyway, God bless you. We'll talk about that another time. If I forget to talk about it, remind me. Say, hey, Richard, you ain't talked about interest rates yet. You didn't talk about the things that we should do before we purchase the car. You didn't talk about the things we should do before we purchase a house, like making sure it's got a good AC unit on it, like making sure that it's got a termite bond, like some of this good stuff, like making sure it's got good windows in it. All that stuff is important. Anyway, God bless you. We love you. We'll see you next time. If you have questions, put them in my inbox. If they're respectful questions, put them in the comments, and I'll respond to your questions as soon as possible. God bless.